Honestly, I might just make this book my new personality. Hi, my name is Adriana, and today I will be doing a book review of The Starless Crown by James Rollins. So before we really jump into it, if you are just looking for a quick yes or no, do I recommend this? Yes. If you like to go into your books totally blind, just stop this video here, like, comment, and subscribe, and then read it and come back. If you want to know a little bit more about it, keep watching. I gotta let my dog in. You wanna come up? Okay. Okay, you're good. You're good. You're good. Nope. Okay. What are we looking at? What are we doing? Okay, yeah, you are not gonna do well in here. Let's get you back out. So to start off with a quick synopsis, The Starless Crown is a multiple POV adult fantasy. A group of totally unrelated characters get pulled from across the known world due to a terrifying prophecy dispelled by a young student. What do you want from me? So I think that's all I really wanted. That duck call in the background is my boyfriend entertaining my dog, so hopefully it's not too distracting. So I think off the bat I would like to start with setting / world building. Obviously, being the first in a series, it's got a lot to build up so that we continue on through the rest of the series. James Rollins' love of science is melded beautifully into this fantastical world. It takes place on a planet that has stopped rotating around its own axis, so only a slim portion of an arc around the planet is habitable, and one side is a burning hot desert and the other side is a freezing cold wasteland. So even though this takes place across a small geographical area, it is incredibly diverse in climate and culture. There is a map in this book. I'll see if I can find like a better version of it online to throw up. The other part of this world that is super fun is the author, James Rollins, is a veterinarian. So he spends a lot of time delving into the incredible wildlife and ecosystem of this planet. And he even commissioned an artist to draw some pictures. I'll show some of the creatures that are in this novel, but it's super fun and a super fleshed out and really interesting world, and I just really enjoyed being in it. Like I said, due to the Earth not spinning, the eastern half of the kingdom, I guess you could say, is all desert. The middle is kind of like forested, almost like rainforesty, a lot of swampland, and then the western edge is right next to that desolate Arctic wasteland. So it makes for a really interesting melding of how one kingdom in the middle treats these two separate parts. The desert part is chock full of minerals, it's where all of their mines are. The middle part is the most temperate climate, which is where the capital is, and a lot of their academic institutions are there as well. And then in the west, in the Arctic part of the kingdom, they use that as a place to exile their prisoners and whatnot. So I think this interesting geographic and climate differences also made really fun fodder for the ecosystem that Rollins created with all of these different animals. This is a fantastical world, but it is also very scientifically forward thinking and really academically minded in the way their structures are set up. So I think that kind of leads us into one of the first characters I want to talk about, and that is kind of our main character, the first point of view character we see, and that is Nyx. She is a 7th year student in the monastery, training to become a physic, just training to become a scientist essentially. She was found as a baby in the swamps surrounding this small village where the big monastery school thing, you want to call it, is. And so she was adopted by a rancher essentially, I think is kind of what his job would be, and raised in this town and got accepted into this really prestigious institution. She is blind, and I think I mentioned that in the synopsis. And due to a traumatic event, which is kind of the inciting incident of this whole book, she regains her sight and is shown this prophecy of the moonfall. So the moon is slated to crash into the earth and destroy it, which kind of interesting because like there's a movie in movie theaters right now called Moonfall, and it's like about the same thing, how the moon is going to crash into the earth. So that's pretty interesting. The other main POV character I want to talk about is Canth, I think is his name. I'll put his name up. But he is my favorite character. He is incredible. So he is the younger twin brother to the prince of the kingdom, and being the younger, he's kind of seen as the spare, and he is well known throughout the kingdom as the prince in the cupboard. He's kind of just kept around until his brother has a chance to produce his own heir so that the lineage can continue down, and this has caused him some angst. He is basically a village drunk and is generally pretty good humored about his position in life. During one part of the beginning of this novel, he is waking up in a strange tavern in town and is kind of flashing his money around, and then some people come to attack him because he's flashing money around, and he ends up puking at them in order to escape. And I love that. I love this character. He's my favorite. He's incredible. And I think his arc is definitely the most pronounced through the book. It's pretty easy to have character development when you start as the village drunk, but his storyline, definitely my favorite. The other point of view character we get is Rafe. He is a thief who is imprisoned in a forced labor mine on that eastern half of the kingdom. He gets almost caught in a mine collapse and uses that as a chance to escape with all of the commotion going on during this collapse of one of the tunnels, and ends up stumbling across an ancient automaton, and this automaton helps him to escape the mine and get out, and she ends up kind of leading him across the country back to a location that she is drawn to, which allows him to kind of hook up with our other main characters through some shenanigans. Our final point of view character is Graylin. He is a knight who was once a really good friend to the king and was exiled to that western kind of Arctic front. He was the least interesting point of view character to me. He was just kind of boring, in all honesty. He's just like an old knight who like got exiled and then is drawn back to the main part of the kingdom by a letter written to him from the headmistress of the school that Nyx goes to. So he ends up breaking another oath, I guess, of exile and coming back to the mainland. Really, the only part I really enjoyed about his storyline is he has these two wolves who are super dope. Like I said in my last video, my monthly wrap up, like if you have a cool dog, automatically you're getting points from me. I love a cool dog. In fact, the wolf is one of the pictures we get of the creatures in this world, and they're super cool. They're super cool looking. I love a cool dog. So with those being our kind of main POV characters, there are a couple side characters that are a pretty integral part of the story, but it is a large ensemble cast, and if I go into every single character, we're gonna be here all day. So we'll jump into plot. This wasn't super plot heavy. Being the first in a series, I think it's just a lot of, character build-up, world building, a lot of trying to figure out what's going on, what this prophecy means, how they're gonna figure it out. I think the next couple books in the series are definitely gonna be a lot more plot heavy. They know what's going on now. They have a fairly decent idea of what they need to do to save the world. Most of this, like I said, is just figuring out what is going on and then running into different issues and creatures along the way. And I do think kind of Rollins' experience as a thriller author, all of these ones down here, has definitely seeped through into this book. There were a lot of really incredible action scenes, including one that felt very reminiscent of one of the action scenes in Kingdom of Bones, his thriller novel that's coming out this year. So I just thought that was kind of funny. Because I read these two so close together, like I could definitely tell that there was some definite influence from his thriller side of his bibliography. But I think all of the action scenes are super, super fun, and I think the added fantasy element to his more thriller style writing was really, really fun for me. And especially as not a super heavy epic fantasy reader, his writing is definitely more straightforward than I think you would probably find in a lot of other fantasy novels. For me, that works because I don't like thinking that hard. So I think to wrap this up and kind of some final thoughts, I loved this book. I got this dope pin for pre-ordering it, and I like this pin as well. I will 100% be continuing on with this series. I will be bugging everybody in my life to read this series so that I have people to talk about it with. If you are interested in this series, I would really love to talk with you about it because I have many theories that I didn't want to get into because I wanted to keep this a non-spoiler review, and I want to hear other people's theories about things. So please let me know if you want to read this or have read it or are going to read it. And thanks so much for watching, and I will catch you on the next video.